You don't need the. I'm doing this my way.
He a legend. 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 Welcome to the league. 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 Welcome to the league. To the league. To the league. To the league. To the league.
If anybody wants to get into a water chugging competition, just hit me up in the comments section and send a video to me, and we can go back and forth on that one for a decent amount of time. But here we are. It's Friday. The LPL is back tomorrow. We have LPL, LCK, LEC, and the LCS. Still trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're back again talking about Thrive Fantasy, the new partner I'm working with right now. Promo code PIKEL. Use the link in the description below. Sign up, and you can get some cool stuff. I think it's like $10, and you get some free contest entries for $20 as well. And then if it's $100, you're getting a full 100% deposit match. Plus, I think you get additional $20 contest entries. We have regular tournaments with like larger fields. Right now, I think they're primarily free rolls. And then they also have head-to-head competitions. Head-to-head competitions are probably going to be the not the easiest and the hardest, but like you're going to have the widest range of players playing that, where it's like, oh wow, I just played against this person who picked all the worst props possible. I want to play that person again tomorrow or the next week. But then I think that there might be some sharp people out there. I cannot play on this because it's not available in New Jersey, so don't worry, you don't have to play against me, but you might have to play against some other sharp people who watch me. So there's that. Last night we had 2 matches in the LCK. Kwangdong Freaks upset Nongshim. I know a lot of people were disappointed in Discord about Nongshim. It's looking like they're going to crash out of the playoff picture, and Kwangdong will end up being the one that takes that spot. And then we had T1 dominate Genji. There were a lot of like people saying, "Oh, well, Genji looked like they were trying really hard, and like trying to make plays," which is admirable, and we should definitely respect that. But they're a completely different team without Ruler. I know a lot of people on Twitter. It's funny, I didn't know this at the time, but a lot of people on Twitter, like LOL projections, for example. This is like generally I say good stuff about LOL projections. This one he'll probably regret. He said like the line moved like 200 points. There's no way that makes any sense, or not that it doesn't make sense. He's like, I need to bet the opposite side of that. It's probably an overreaction. If they brought up their challenger AD carry, I would say it was probably an overreaction. But I think that they had to use their challenger mid laner as an AD carry, and I think that was the problem. The other piece of information about that is that right when I found out the ruler was gone, I instantly bet on T1, and I'm being somewhat honest with you when I say there's almost no number that could have been on. I was just treating it like free money. Like right when I heard that news, I instantly bet $100 on it. That just seemed like free money to me. And obviously that could still go sideways. Like if Genji had the best mid lane AD carry player in the history of the mid lane in LCK, then yeah, like it could have been like a good curveball. But if it was a curveball, T1 knocked it out of the park. And that's not me being insensitive about baseball being on a lockout or whatever. That might be good for esports. So that'd be pretty interesting. Sorry again if you like baseball, but that's not why I'm here. So let's take a look at what's going on tomorrow. Let's start in the LPL. So we'll do LPL, LCK, LEC, and then for the LCS we'll take a look at Thrive Fantasy again because they have some LCS props up there now. But like I said, we're going to start in China. So we have V5 against JDG, minus 345 to 252. LNG against Thunder Talk, minus 250. Thunder Talk is plus 654. And then Billy Gaming is a 244 favorite against FPX at plus 185. So those are some pretty big numbers. One thing that I like to do is kind of think in my head which ones of these matches seem the closest to me. So obviously I agree with the first one. LNG and Thunder Talk do not seem close at all. That should be the biggest one of the day. But I was surprised that V5 against JDG is thought of as a bigger discrepancy in talent, or there's a wider gap between V5 and JDG as opposed to BLG and FPX, according to the sportsbook. That's basically the lines that they're putting out there, because they're probably thinking to themselves, we're going to get more action on FPX as an underdog than JDG as an underdog in these types of matchups. I don't know if I agree. I think that JDG is more likely to upset V5 than FPX is to upset BLG. So let's take a look at the rosters. This is on Twitter from Hoopu Esports. Don't know what that means, but I retweeted it. So Rich against 369. We mentioned this yesterday. I think 369 is probably just better. Karsa against Kanavi. I think Kanavi is just better, but it's closer than... It's closer. Like last year and the year before that, whenever people would be talking about Karsa as this great jungler, I would always kind of like take that with a grain of salt, because he's a very good jungler. He's a world caliber jungler, but people never really gave Kanavi the same respect until 2020. The end of 2019, 2020, 2021. Like 2021 was tough for Kanavi, and he's been playing pretty well. I think he's played pretty well consistently. It's just that the results haven't been there because his team had been struggling with the different metas that were out there. So I like JDG in this spot. I want JDG as the underdog. I definitely will have exposure to both sides. On DraftKings tonight, there's a $20,000 to first tournament. I'm going to play that tournament, and I'll probably play more than I normally do, just going after that $20,000 prize. And I will have JDG teams, and I will have V5 teams. The way that I determine which teams I play is based on how they fit with one another, and I always try to get unique. Sometimes there's just a lineup that's too good to pass up, and you might chop it 50 ways, but if it comes in first, I like coming in first. It might not be the sensible long-term play to run out those kinds of rosters, but sometimes a lot of people have that same mentality and just don't put it in, and then you chop with less people than you would think. Second match, and this is the biggest line of the day. So LNG at minus 1250 against Thunder Talk. I don't think Thunder Talk has done anything that should make us confident in their ability to upset. TT Gaming upset FPX. It's not horrible. But they lost to LGD. The only thing that you could possibly bet on this is Thunder Talk plus 1.5 games. The best case scenario for LNG in like a tournament for DraftKings is probably if Thunder Talk wins the first game somehow and it's bloody, and then LNG just slaps them around in games 2 and 3. But LNG will probably be a better secondary stack where you're really banking on them getting the game not played bonus. And then FPX against BLG. We have Breathe against Xiaolahu. Definitely prefer Breathe. Weiwei and Klid, pretty close. Fofo and Care. So Care is playing, not Gory. I don't know Care. Care is the Academy mid laner. Okay. That's the kind of thing where if he's very good, then maybe this is an upgrade. I'd be surprised if it was an upgrade, though. And then LWX and Hong against Doggo and Crisp. I prefer the Doggo and Crisp side. I know that a lot of people are probably frustrated with Doggo because when he looks bad, he looks very bad because he's willing to make these aggressive plays that sometimes blow up in his face. But that's the same reason why you can respect players like Jackie Love, is because sometimes his flash into the enemy team is good, and sometimes it's very bad. But that's basically it in the LPL. So like I said, I prefer JDG from a betting perspective. LNG, I prefer JDG from the betting perspective because I think it's closer than this. LNG, huge favorite on DraftKings. You can play it as a secondary stack. And then BLG against FPX. I'm not playing FPX, but if you have inside information about Care and you think he's a very good mid laner, then maybe it's a spot to attack. But I don't love the idea of that. I guess the other concern for that would be if FPX is constantly given champions like Jinx and Zeri, because I think Doggo he's not an Aphelios one trick, but he loves playing Aphelios. So I don't know if that's a spot that BLG is going to kind of back themselves into. So let's go to the LCK. So we have DRX against KT Rolster. I think I said this yesterday. DRX against KT Rolster. It's a little scary for me because I don't like betting on DRX when they're favorites. They feel like Weibo Gaming in that sense, where they can kind of lose to anybody. But I do like their chances to like beat the teams that we know are better than them as well. So like they have a wider range of outcomes. I'm not playing KT Rolster here. I have a bet on DRX to win the split. I don't think that they're going to win the split, but it'll be fun to root for during the playoffs. So I'm on DRX there. And then Damwon against Hanwha. I'm not playing Hanwha. They've looked pretty bad. Damwon hasn't looked like themselves. This is a spot that they could just dominate Hanwha. And ultimately, it's all about winning the match. It's not about winning every game in the match. So I really don't see Damwon having too much of a problem with Hanwha. I would not advise playing Hanwha. And that's the reverse Jinx. Play them on DraftKings. Then we discussed the LEC yesterday, so let's just do that again. I have all the favorites, which is normally not a good thing, especially in the LEC where there's been a ton of underdogs winning this year. Rogue against SK Gaming. Let's just talk through this again. Odoamne against Genax. It's clearly Odoamne favored. Malrong against Gilius. That's clearly Malrong favored. Larson against Certus. Same thing. Comp and Trimby against Jezu and Shreets. It's the same thing. The thing about SK Gaming is they definitely believe in themselves, and they talk like they're a really good. They don't talk down about other teams, but they talk very highly of themselves. It's a good thing to be that confident, and you know that they will try to make aggressive plays because they do believe in themselves. So I don't want to bash them too hard. It's just going up against a team like Rogue, who hasn't been convincing the past couple of weeks. I would think that Rogue is trying to make a statement this weekend going into playoffs and is trying to make sure that they're on the right track. So definitely on the Rogue side there. Misfits against Astralis. So here against White Knight. White Knight is a good top laner. I don't think that this is a huge advantage either way. That's going to come down to the draft. Schlatan against Zanzara. Schlatan is the better player, and he has a better champion pool. Vetio against Dajor. Vetio is a better player, and he might also have the better champion pool. Dajor has played... It's not necessarily his fault, but I think the Vex game specifically made me kind of question how the team was drafting. Neon and Mursa against Kabe and Promiscu. I mean, Neon and Mursa... Neon's similar to Kabe in terms of talent. Promiscu's kind of garbage. Mursa, I really don't have an opinion of yet. Vitality against Mad Lions. So, Alfari against Armut, I prefer Alfari. Selfmade against Elyoya, I prefer Selfmade, but worst case scenario, they're even, in my opinion. Perks is better than Reeker. Karzi and Labrav are better than Unforgiven and Kaiser. I didn't know about Karzi and Labrav playing with each other previously, but that makes me feel better long term that it'll all work out. I'm definitely on the Vitality side there. Mad Lion, I don't know exactly what the playoff scenario is, but that's one thing I definitely recommend tomorrow is that the LEC broadcast will publish that information, and they'll talk about it on the broadcast. So definitely make sure that you check that out. If you don't check it out, I'll probably watch it and then try to explain it in the video tomorrow. Next up, G2 against XL. Broken Blade, Yankos, Caps, Flockid, Targamas. And then we have Finn, Marcoon, Nukeduck, Patrick, and Mickey. So that's a spot. I do think that Finn has played okay this split. XL really needs this match. And I think I also mentioned this yesterday. With the result of the Mad Lions game, I don't think that it's going to make XL think like, oh, we don't have to try because Mad Lions lost and Mad Lions now has like a 1% chance to win. XL is going to want to prove themselves against the upper teams, and I think we'll get a good game out of them. But I do think it'll be slow. If they have any say in the matter, it'll be a slow tempo game. And in a slow tempo game, it's just going to give G2 the opportunity to attack and be aggressive, get an early game lead, snowball that early game lead. So I definitely prefer G2 there. And then Fnatic against BDS. We're done with BDS. We're not playing them anymore. Fnatic minus 556. I think they probably already have playoffs locked up. Maybe they just try to mail it in and get slapped. When we were looking at the props yesterday, I was saying something about how I could see them just attacking Humanoid in like an insane amount and trying to get like Adam ahead. And it is a revenge game for Adam. So maybe they're additionally incentivized to get him ahead by like either ganking his lane or allowing him to shove out roam mid, get a kill. And I think we saw that. Earlier this year. I don't know if that was against Fnatic. It might have been. But that's basically it for those 3 leagues. So let's take a look at the LCS. So Immortals against Evil Geniuses, I'm obviously on EG side. TSM against FlyQuest. So TSM has had some new information come out about their roster. They have a new mid laner playing. Takeover is taking over the mid lane from Kaiduo. Kaiduo hasn't looked that bad. It might just be a communication thing. I don't know. And then Shen Yi's coming back to the main stage. And Yursan's going back down. Yursan looked a little shaky this weekend. He made some pretty big mistakes. So I think that is kind of a good thing overall. I'm surprised they didn't just bring up Shen Yi and keep Kaiduo. I don't know if there was a reason they did it this way, but I still kind of want to bet on TSM at this point. This match and the Dig CLG match are the two matches that you can kind of like question what side you're going to be on. TL against 100 Thieves. This is a very similar line to before. Earlier in the season when they played, 100 Thieves won that matchup. I prefer 100 Thieves as the underdog here again. I just think that you're getting too much value on that line. I know Team Liquid has looked much better. But especially in a best of one, it's almost all about the talent. Because the talent is going to force the teams to draft a certain way. Or at least they should change their game plan based on how they view the talent between the players on both teams. C9 against Golden Guardians. I could see Golden Guardians getting the lead in the early game, but I think C9, the way that they draft and play for scaling, is going to eliminate some of the ability for Golden Guardians to use that early game lead and scale comfortably, or snowball comfortably. It would be cool if Cloud9 was just like, well, we're going to attack you head-to-head in the early game and kind of just see what happens. I don't expect that to happen, though. That'd be better. It would be the better viewing experience, but I don't think we're going to see that. And then Dig against CLG. CLG has been pretty bad. I have lost. I've picked CLG a decent amount and lost a decent amount. And I think that Dig will probably turn it around. So, again, this one's a question mark. That one's a question mark. I don't even remember what I said yesterday about Dig CLG. Fake God against Jenkins is pretty similar. River against Contracts. River is better. Blue is not that... He can't be that much better than Palafox. And then Poom and Luger against Neo and Biofrost. That can kind of go either way, too. CLG was able to win because they got a good Zeri game. If Dignitas is blue side, it's even less likely that they get Zeri. So that's that. I'm on Dig. Now let's finish it off with some Thrive Fantasy. So let's see what we have here. LCS Saturday free roll. All right. So, like I said last time, you got to pick 5, and then you can get 2 backup picks that are used just in case your player ends up not playing for some reason. So let me just bring this over here. So Immortals against Evil Geniuses. So Destiny is the support. Supports don't get kills most of the time. And yet it's the under. Especially, I guess, that would actually be an interesting thing to do more research on. Like, do supports get more kills in losses because they're not the focal points of the team and, like, they can pick up extra kills? I don't think that I would play this one. This just seems like a really variant option. Like, I wouldn't feel good either way, even if I thought there was an edge. I just don't see there being an edge here because all it takes is, like, one fluke kill in lane or like accidentally taking a kill away from one of the carries, or being on mop up duty. Just I don't even know how to think through that one. Like, I tried to, but that one just doesn't feel good. Impact. So this one you're basically saying, are Evil Geniuses going to win or lose? If Evil Geniuses wins, this is going to be an under. If Evil Geniuses loses, he could still be under. So you definitely want to play the under here. This one I would consider. I'm not doing the first one. That one I would consider. This one's. I think this is the best one. This might be the best one I've seen between both days. So Spica, over under 2.5 assists against FlyQuest. So it's a game where they're an underdog. They have a chance to win. And 2.5 assists in a loss is not unheard of either. Like, he's a jungler. He's the one that's probably first or second most likely to be involved in the kills on the map. So that's definitely an over. Kumo, kills plus deaths 2.5 against TSM. This seems like an over. That seems like a pretty easy one as well. This one could be correlated as well because you have the more deaths that Kumo has, the more likely Spica is going to have an assist. So those two you can play together. 100 Thieves against Team Liquid. 4.5 kills. That's a tough one. You don't want to... I mean, that's kind of surprising. If you think Team Liquid is going to win, then you can play the under and feel like that's free. If you think that 100 Thieves is going to win, you're still not feeling that great about over 4.5 kills. I think that 4 is a pretty fair number for kills for an AD carry in a win. So I would lean under, but again, I don't love that. I'm going to not click that. I'm going to not click, or that one's fine. Not going to click that one. Bwipo at 1.5 deaths. That's one that you don't really feel good about. Bwipo in a win against 100 Thieves, staying under 1.5 deaths. Eesh. I don't think I can play the over here. You're not incentivized enough. There's not enough points available. They're basically daring you to play the under. I don't like that. Maybe as like one of the substitute picks. C9 against Golden Guardians. Over under 2.5 assists. Fudge over under 2.5 assists. I feel like you have to go over here. Licorice over under 7.5 kills plus deaths. So this is going to depend on what you think is going to be the number of kills that C9 gets. As a top laner, you can see Licorice getting, 4 deaths in a loss. The under is definitely the right side. The under is definitely the more likely side. That's why the number's set that way. That's a tough one. That's one I'd probably stay away from. River, I think this is a good river spot. I'd probably bet the over on that one. And then Luger, I'd bet the over on deaths. Because I think that that's a good spot where it's like that's what I would do. So my maximum points is 480. I don't know what the correct number of points to aim for is. Like, if you're playing in a tournament where you can do multiple options, you might want to just go after the bigger ones, like the biggest ones possible. Just try to take a shot on them, because that gives you the highest percentage chance of scoring points. It's kind of like use like the 3-pointer mentality. Like, if you chuck a bunch of threes and you hit them at like 40%, you're going to score more points than people taking 2-pointers even at like 80% or whatever that number is. I don't know what the exact number is. I'm just using placeholder numbers. You get the idea. But that's basically it. So, like I said earlier, full slate of games tomorrow. Some interesting spots. We're getting to, honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, we're getting to the point in the season where you can kind of justify either side of a bet if you like try hard enough, because you can either say, oh, well, the thing that happened earlier in the season is going to happen again, or like, oh, the thing that happened earlier in the season isn't representative of what happens in most games, so like bet against it. That's generally my attitude, is to bet against what happened previously, or at least like find the middle ground between what happened previously and what happens the most often. But yeah, we have some good matches this weekend. Some like really solid teams playing against each other, and that's really what I pay attention to League of Legends for. I really only care about the good matches. Everything else is kind of just like extra. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share my content with whoever you want. If they don't have a Thrive Fantasy account, tell them to use the promo code Pikel. Tell them about the 100% deposit match. Tell them about the free contest entries that they're going to get. If you need any more information about that, just check out the description. It's in there, I promise you, unless I forget it, in which case it won't be there. But then you can go to one of my other videos, and then it will be there. So ultimately, it's on you, not me, to tell your friends about Thrive Fantasy so that you can go win some money. Watch out for me on DraftKings tonight. I'll be winning the 20 grand. That's all I got for you tonight. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.